how Apple is suffering from an identity crisis. The Wall Street Journal's Jessica Lessin joins us now from San Francisco. Jessica, thanks for being there.
Yeah.
So what do you mean by an identity crisis for Apple?
Well, obviously Apple makes hardware, but the question is, should Wall Street be thinking of Apple as a hardware company or a software-hardware hybrid, if you will? And obviously with the stock dropping and there are a lot of gloom and pessimism about the company right now on Wall Street, investors are looking at it like a hardware company that sort of needs hit new products to stay on top and goes through these sort of boom and bust cycles. But other people are arguing that the stock is very cheap right now. It's trading at about 9 times future earnings, so that's relatively low. And so people are saying, okay, what are some other explanations? How else can we look at Apple right now? It made $13 billion in profit last quarter. How else can we think about it? And the company and some analysts have been continuing on this idea that it's more than a hardware company, that software and services and the app ecosystem, if you will, is going to give it properties unlike companies like Nokia and RIM that have had these hardware boom and bust cycles, but are going to sort of keep it on top for longer. And that's a view we're starting to hear more about, even while Wall Street is reacting to the view that it's basically a hardware company that needs a new hit or it's going to be in trouble.
Wall Street is notoriously fickle, Jessica. I mean, if they love you right up until that very moment when they don't, and we've seen that as the stock has slid down over 40% over the last few months. I mean, should Wall Street just learn to be less fickle and say, you know what? This is a unique company. Yes, it produces hardware. Yes, it produces software, but it also has something a little bit different. And let's maybe for this one company throw out the old models.
Well, and it's a great point. And obviously, investors are responding to a range of sentiment issues beyond this sort of broader question right now. And with earnings being reported tomorrow, there's a lot of movement and speculation on that. But clearly the street is looking at Apple on a very short-term basis, as it often does, you know, next 6 months kind of thing. But that creates a lot of paradoxes when you look at this company, which is still generating enormous amounts of profit, has an incredible amount of cash in the bank. So, you know, there are alternative ways to look at it. I think investors are still going to be focused on the short term a lot more than the company would like. And the burden is on them to shift that. But I think there's a lot of data points out there that suggest there may be more to look at. You know, 500 million iTunes accounts tied to credit cards. That's a big ecosystem that doesn't sort of fit into that equation of just looking at how many iPhones did the company sell, how many iPads did it sell.
Well, there's a great quote here. It says, I think this is Tim Cook saying, we don't look at the sale of a product as the last part of our relationship with the customer. It's the first. And I've bought Apple products and they are, you know, I love them. I mean, and I find like I want to go back for whatever the next one is. Is that sort of brand loyalty has more in common with, say, Levi's or something?
It's a great point, and that's a strong brand loyalty, and despite a lot of competition and loss in market share, there's a lot of data to support that Apple customers still feel that way and they still want to buy their next Apple device. The question is, what happens this year when we see more devices from Samsung on the market, a lot more competition, and we'll have to wait and see what Apple comes up with. So there's a sentiment that customers are still loyal, but the kind of software, the iTunes Music Store, for instance, that in the past has really served as that ecosystem lock-in, that too is under pressure from other types of music services. So the burden is on Apple to keep proving that it has the best software and services so that people like you want to keep buying the next product and it doesn't go the way of RIM.
Well, I like that. I like that idea. Them keep proving it to me. That would be great. That would be wonderful. I'm sure you would too. Thank you very much. Always a pleasure. Jessica Lessin.
Thanks, Simon.